Awesome. All right, good morning, everybody. We're taking a look at Bowser, our common snapping turtle here. We're gonna have him on our live stream as we wait for more guests to show up. We can check out this super cool turtle that we have at our aquarium. Everybody's favorite Bowser. He's actually a mutant. You can see he has extra fingers on his left hand here. So we'll check him out as we're waiting for more friends to log in. If you guys can hear and see our video okay, let us know in the comments section. Excellent, I'm seeing some people joining our video. Very cool. So we are checking out Bowser, our snapping turtle, because we are going to be learning all about turtles today. And he is the largest turtle that we have under our care at our aquarium. So can everybody see and hear our video that's logged in so far? Let us know in the comments section if we're coming in loud and clear for you guys. Bowser's cruising around. He's ready for his breakfast snack. All right, so we are good, great audio, excellent. All right, so we're gonna talk about turtles and we're gonna come back to Bowser, but the first thing I wanna do is talk turtle characteristics. So I'm gonna switch spots with our camera lady, Miss Jess here. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Breakfast by the Bay, Season 2. My name is Mr. Jeff and Miss Jess is behind the camera. We are coming to you live from our Exploration Center and Aquarium in Newport, Rhode Island. We're going to talk about one of my favorite animals, turtles, just like our beautiful Bowser that's swimming around. And we want to give a quick shout out to 11th Hour Racing, so thank you for your support in sponsoring our Season 2 of Breakfast by the Bay. If you guys are watching and enjoying our videos, please like and subscribe to our Facebook page and as well as our YouTube page. It will be a huge help for us. But why are we talking about turtles? So I have a whole bunch of characteristics of what makes turtles unique. So the one thing that we want to know about turtles is that they are reptiles. So they have scaly skin, they shed their skin in order to grow. And other reptiles that you might think of that are closely related to turtles would be alligators and crocodiles and snakes and lizards. So those are all in the reptile family. The turtles that we are looking at today spend most of their time in the water. So they have evolved, they have special adaptations that make them perfect for life underwater. One of those things is that they have webbed feet. So if you've ever been swimming, you want to close your fingers and cup your hands to push more water. And all of these turtles have evolved to have their webbed fingers together to help them move through the water better. They also have really streamlined bodies, so they're hydrodynamic and have less resistance as they swim. And they are all ectothermic, which is a fancy science word that means cold-blooded. So the turtle's body temperature matches their surroundings. For instance, our friend Bowser is in room temperature water. The temperature in the room is about 68 degrees, which means his body temperature is 68 degrees. So lots of times you might see turtles lounging or basking in the sun trying to warm themselves up. All reptiles lay eggs as well, so they lay leathery eggs. Their shells are a lot different from a bird's egg shell would feel. Like a chicken egg has a really hard calcium on the outside, whereas reptile eggs are really leathery. And then of course, turtles have shells that help to protect and cover their bodies. So the carapace is the shell that covers the back of their body. And then underneath, they have what's called the plastron, and that's the shell covering their belly. And these shells are covered with something called scutes. Those are the roundish, bony plates that are covering all over their shells. So these are the characteristics that make turtles unique. But let's zoom back in on our friend Bowser, our snapping turtle. He's coming out to join you guys on camera. And of course, if you guys have any questions or comments along the way, feel free to let us know. Post your questions, we'll try to answer them the best we can. But Bowser is one of our stars at the aquarium. Like I said earlier, he was actually rescued on the beach right here at Easton's Beach in Newport. So obviously he is a freshwater turtle, and finding him on or nearby a saltwater beach is definitely not the place for him to be. We think he was hatched out of the reservoir that's right behind Easton's Beach, and then maybe a storm, or he just got lost and wandered across the street. But finding him on the beach is one of the reasons why we found him. He was in distress, and we brought him in, tried to rehab him, and he is no longer deemed to be capable of living out in the wild. So he's going to live with us throughout the rest of his lifetime.
Sorry, Jeff,
yeah,
we already have a question.
Sure,
so Jen wants to know how old Bowser is.
Excellent question, Jen. So Bowser, it's actually going to be his birthday pretty soon. So right now he is 9 years old, but we celebrate his birthday on May 23rd. He is going to be turning 10 years old. So he's almost 10. He still has a lot of life left in him. Snapping turtles on average can live for over 100 years. So he is still very young in turtle years. But we don't know exactly when he was born. We just use the date May 23rd, but we know it was in the springtime, the spring season. So let's see if he can give you a really good view. See his left hand? You can see his mutation. He actually has 7 fingers on one of his hands. So turtles, like humans, are only supposed to have 5 fingers, but he was born with 2 extra thumbs. So it's a mutation called polydactylism. Happens a lot in cats. You might have had a pet cat that had extra thumbs. But it's something that Bowser was born with. And it's a mutation that doesn't really hurt or benefit his life. So it's kind of just a mutual mutation. It doesn't really affect them positively or negatively. Excellent. And you'll also notice on the bottom of his body, kind of gives you a good view there of his plastron, that shell that covers his belly. So because he's one of the apex predators in the freshwater areas, he doesn't really need a big shell to protect him. So he has kind of a smaller plastron, which makes it easier for him to maneuver and move. Any other questions about Bowser? We can move on. We have 4 other species of turtles that we're going to be talking about today. So we can move on to our next one over here. Awesome. So this beautiful little turtle here is called a spotted turtle. And you'll notice that this turtle has spots all over its carapace, which gives it its name. So the cool thing about a spotted turtle is when they are first born, they actually have 1 spot per scute. So you see all these roundy bony plates here? Those are called scutes that make up the carapace or the shell. And they're born with 1 spot per scute. And then as they age, they'll actually grow and develop more spots all over their body. And so these guys can have over 100 spots sprinkled all over their carapace, which is really cool. And so these are actually one of the smallest species of turtle in Rhode Island. On average, they only grow to be about 3.5 to 5.5 inches long. Some of the predators that they would have to worry about in the wild would include raccoons and muskrats, smaller mammals like that. You can see the plastron. They have a really large plastron to protect their bellies. And these guys get spooked very easily. So if they're out basking on a log or a rock and they sense a predator nearby, they'll quickly dive back into the water where they feel more comfortable. And they'll actually bury themselves in the mud. So by hiding and burying in the mud is when they feel safest. And the cool thing about spotted turtles is that they are very sensitive to pollution. So if there's any poor water quality or pollution in a freshwater area where they would like to live, they would not be able to survive there. So they're a really good bio-indicator. If you find turtles in a pond nearby, that's a good sign that that water quality is really healthy. There's less pollution. Any questions about our spotted turtle?
Not about our spotted turtle, but we did get another question from Amy wanting to know what Bowser does eat.
Oh, great question. So we actually have some food that we can give Bowser if you want to take a look. We actually have special pellets. Let me see here. So Bowser eats a healthy variety of food. We give him fish chunks, so herring and mackerel, and he eats lots of squid chunks as well. And when he's not eating those frozen fishes, he gets these reptimin, which are little reptile pellets full of all the vitamins and nutrients they need. We can toss some over here. He's ready for a morning snack. And you can check out, he has that really long, strong neck and powerful beak. So he might demonstrate how he attacks and goes for his food. But unfortunately, turtles have really poor eyesight and vision. So it looks like he's totally confused now, going the wrong way. But he'll smell those food. You can smell those pellets in the water and he'll eventually go for them. You can also see that he has lots of native fish species living in his exhibit as well. So in the wild, obviously snapping turtles would attack these fish. But since Bowser was raised in captivity, he's not the most instinctual hunter, so he can't really catch any of the fish that are in here with him. You can get a good view of his explosiveness as he shoots his head and neck out, going for those pellets. And so turtles don't have any teeth. They actually have a sharp beak, kind of like a bird, where they can tear their food apart and then they'll swallow it whole. So he doesn't actually have to chew his food. It's being very active for you guys. It's really great on camera. I don't know if he's found any of his pellets yet. A lot of the fish got to him first. Awesome, but let's check out another species of turtles that live in Rhode Island. This is one of my favorites that we have at our aquarium. So this species of turtle is known as a musk turtle or a stink pot turtle. And you can see he has that really cute face, kind of has that snout-like nose. He also has little tentacle-like growths around his chin. And he also has a taller shell as well. His carapace is a lot taller, less streamlined. But the reason that they are called musk or stink pot turtles is because they actually have glands that excrete an acid that creates a really pungent, musky, stinky odor. And that's one of their defense mechanisms. So if they smell rotten and dead, predators aren't gonna take the chance to eat them because they might get sick. So the more nasty they smell, the less a predator will be appetized or wanna try to eat these guys. You can see a good view of his plastron, that shell protecting his belly. And most turtles are able to withdraw completely into their shells. They can move their arms and legs and tail and head inside their shell. But musk turtles actually can't fit their whole body inside their shell, which is kind of funny. He's one of our oldest turtles on exhibit. He is estimated to be about 30 years old. And again, turtles live for a very long time. Because they're so slow moving and slow growing, these guys can live 80 to 100 years or so. He'll be around for a long time. Just giving you a good view of his beak inside there. Any questions about our Stinky the Stink Pot turtle here? All right, we have two more species that I want to highlight for you guys. So I'll put him back in here with his friend. Actually, we'll put these guys back in their exhibit. So right behind our table, we have our exhibit where the spotted turtle and the stink pot go. You can see one of our other spotted turtles is lounging on top of the log. And so we'll put our turtle right on top next to there, and they'll probably jump into the water. Maybe not Stinky, he's a little slow. Let's scoot over. All right, so we have those heat lamps that are set up to act like the sun. So if they need to warm their bodies, they can bask in that sunlight right on top of that log and warm up. You can see they're really good at diving into the water too when they get heat. Awesome. All right, so we have two other native species of turtles that I'd like to talk about. So this next one is one of the most common turtles you might find around Rhode Island. So this guy here is our painted turtle. And it gets the name painted turtle because if you look on the sides of its shell, it has that really pretty orange color. Looks like somebody hand painted it. But that's actually natural coloration that actually breaks up their body plan, the shape of their body, to help them camouflage in the water.
Jeff, we actually do have a question.
Sure.
Amber wants to know if all the turtles' eyes are black.
If all the turtles' eyes are black, that's a really good question. If we zoom in on their eyes here, you notice any coloration on their eyes? I think most of them have those really dark pupils, and then some of them have a little bit of yellow kind of lines around the edge of them. But yeah, I'd say most of them have darker color eyes. Definitely. Never really looked right into their eyes, but I would say yes, they'd have dark black eyes. Good observation. You'll also notice if you check out their feet, they have those little tiny claws that help them dig through the mud and sand where they hang out underwater, and their webbed toes that we talked about to help them swim. And if we check out their tails, you can actually tell if it's a male or a female by looking at their tails. So females have shorter, thinner tails, and they usually have shorter front claws as well, where males have these larger front claws and they have these thick, long tails. So we think this is a female because she has just a teeny tiny little tail. But she still has a lot more growing to do. So painted turtles can get up to about 10 inches or so in length. And they also do a really funny, elaborate courtship dance. So when they find a mate, they try to impress their mate by doing this little dance. Show how healthy they are.
So Jeff, we have a friend, Fran, who turned in a little late, and they might have missed it, but they want to know, are all of these turtles freshwater turtles?
Yes, so all of the turtles we were talking about today live in freshwater places like ponds and lakes. So you'd find them in freshwater sources around our watershed. They would not live in Narragansett Bay because our bay is full of brackish or salty-ish water. But these guys like freshwater sources. We do have terrapins here. We're not going to check out the terrapins today. We did an earlier episode on those guys. But the terrapins look very similar to these turtles. However, they can survive in brackish water. But the turtles we're highlighting today are all freshwater. Great question. So I have one more turtle I'm going to show you guys. And this species is actually an invasive species of turtle in Rhode Island. So this is the River Cooter. And these guys, their distribution or range where they're naturally found is usually south of Virginia. So from Virginia all the way down the coast to Florida. So finding him in Rhode Island is a good indication that maybe he was somebody might have owned a pregnant River Cooter and released it into the wild, and she might have had a successful hatch or something to that effect. But because we found him living in a range where he wouldn't survive out in the wild, we actually found this guy on our beach in Newport at Easton's Beach as well. Because we found him here, it's actually illegal to release him back into the wild, which is why he is under our care here at the aquarium. You can see this River Cooter is very similar to our painted turtle that we were just checking out. With those sharp claws and webbed feet again, that large plastron, that shell that covers their belly. And these guys are actually herbivores, so they'll feed primarily on aquatic plants, so any plant life that grows underwater. And the females will actually lay their eggs in the summertime, early summer, and they lay a really large clutch or group of eggs. They can usually lay between 7 to 20 eggs at a time. So the more eggs that they lay, the better chance that their young will actually survive and grow to reach maturity. So that is our River Cooter. Awesome. So that is all the turtles that we have to talk about today. Unless you guys have any other questions, I'd like to thank you for tuning in for another episode of Breakfast by the Bay. And be sure to come back next Wednesday, 10 a.m. right here on our Facebook Live. So thank you guys. See you next time.
We have one question.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Amy wants to know if the river turtle has a name.
The River Cooter, do you have a name or?
Cleo.
Yeah. So this is Cleo. And when Cleo was first born, she was about the size of a quarter. So while she's been with us for about a year or 2 years now, she's more than doubled in size. She's a really good turtle here. She caught up in size to our painted turtle really quickly. Awesome. All right, thank you guys. Definitely check in next Wednesday, 10 a.m.